as what I suggest that we do, because obviously we don't want to go backwards from Peter to John, so I suggest that we go from John to Peter. We reverse it going out. And then I thought the second reading was very valid. You know, it just all kind of just lump in. That's how they do it. Well, you've been in minor services in Lafayette. You know how they do it. So it's not like you're a newbie. You know? Yeah.
Been in minor services here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. And I've been on his show several times. Yeah. So anyway, so we're here in John 8, you know, we have a unique situation here. And again, how do we break this thing down? What you see here in John? What y'all see?
DNAs.
DNAs?
That we don't understand what is DNA. This morning we were driving and we, as you know, we inspired a little bit on the Episcopalian Church. And this morning I see that the preacher was struggling. She was struggling with interest. Is God a man and a woman? Blah, blah, blah. And what's the gender? And I said, God, you're missing the whole point.
Yeah.
Sex is just, gender is just an attribute for reproduction.
Right.
God is, and this, I was so pleased to see the light and radiance. So converting that, expressing that so our little human being self can understand things. Whoever is in charge there, whoever the God of the universe is, has made a decision. And some people were even upset at me.
Well, you say him because we've been taught to put a gender on it.
No.
But see, you just said
No,
that they don't have a gender, but then you went right into he. You see, so that's why I laid this down. Then later, well, what about us?
No, let me finish.
Go ahead,
That
Doc.
preacher, she said, her,
Oh,
she's
shit.
talking to God. So, which is totally irrelevant.
Right.
If we go further. Yesterday, after we moved those stuff, those medical equipment from, I didn't say anything on that.
No.
I was trying to get some help from muscle, but we did it. And we were sitting and some people, and we were in the backyard by my house. And I was looking at, I paused on one bill. Is it, do you recognize that plant? What it is, I brought from Haiti a seed of sweet soul. And it's growing now.
Thank you, Rita.
So, how come it's growing here? Just the beginning that seed. And God said in another word, Jesus said in other words, the mustard seed.
Yeah, last week we talked about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that little DNA on that little seed now is giving me, is going to go to be a beautiful, and one of the Haitians was there recognized the bread. That's hashima in Creole, that's what we call it, with the sour soap. So there's only one thing common about this, is the DNA that is there in that seed. And us also, so it must have been a struggle. And as you know, the Gnostics at the time of Jesus were upset of God having made, what is a human being? What is a sour soap tree? It's a physical experience, something we can do
Right.
as little human.
Right.
Because if we are to look for God as a light,
Yeah.
radiance, and all that, so we don't have the ability. God didn't make us that smart in the sense of ability to have that. So he has to give us gender, he has to give us leaves, and so we can describe everything. But all this stem from a simple decision made to every human being has the potential to become God.
Right. Is God. Every human being is God.
To which God? No,
Yeah.
we're not God.
No,
Because
but we are gods. We are gods.
Potentially we are God.
No, we are gods, but whether we utilize the power that's been granted to us, that's another story. Now you see here the religious leaders who's challenging the light. Those who are in charge of the churches, the bishops, the cardinals, and not just picking on one religion. Who the Pharisees was, the religious leaders. Who missed the whole boat? The church. They were so busy playing church they missed, and that's why he's saying, you don't know me, you don't know who sent me, but you're waiting for me. See, again, we're looking for that's been granted already.
The thing is that, as a basic question, who are we?
Right.
Who are we? Where we come from? And we get caught up in some materialistic, wild capitalism nonsense, and you get lost, trapped in things that have no relevance to your real reason for your journey in this corner of the universe.
No.
So that's why the Gnostic, to repeat them again, they're upset. They say, why did God bother to make things visible, touchable, tastable, and all stuff? They were upset at that project.
Yeah.
They think it was a mistake.
But that's what they were saying. It's like the thing is, human beings function off of ego.
Yeah.
So it's like, they get caught up in humanness and the ego. When in this, scripture, one of them was saying, you're supposed to connect to the spirit within you, because the spirit within you connects to everybody.
Right.
Else. We all are not. And the ego functions as an individual. It looks at himself, what's in it for me. And when you connect with your spirit, you're not looking at yourself, what's in it for me. You're looking at it. We all connected to that same spirit.
Sandra,
Really goes all the own.
but Sandra made a good point. To Sandra's point, if we just kept God a spirit, like the Bible say God was, God is a spirit. The Bible never said that God was a male or female. People started saying that, and the people that gave God agenda was trying to advance their agenda. Now, I tend to believe, as you all know, that we have the big kahuna spirit, then next the female. Because there's not one man on this planet can say that they don't have a mother. Not one. Every man on the planet came from a woman. So it just makes sense that a woman was first. That?
No, but when you say the woman didn't make your spirit.
No, wait a minute. Now we talking about the goddess of the earth, not the big kahuna now. We talking the big kahuna, which is spirit. The big kahuna say, I'm spirit. That I never took on the form of man. They say that. The kahuna didn't never say that. You can't show it to me. It don't say that. The kahuna is spirit. Then the kahuna placed female here, female impregnated and gave birth to humanity. But the man still in the story said that God took a rib from him. Why we don't have an uneven rib? So God gave man an uneven rib because he knew he was going to create female from. It's stupid. But if you go to Genesis 1, that's Genesis 2, by the way, which is the second creation story. The first creation story says that God created male and female at the same time. Male and female, he created, gave them both dominion and power over the earth. But see, we'll miss that one because, again, we want to be gender dominant. And so that people did that. God didn't do that. God didn't do that. But then when you take the woman, how can you lessen who the woman is when all of us come from a woman?
But we would be lessening that.
You would if you. But I'm saying, but still, that's what I'm saying. Of course, just like everything usually, the normal process, right? The normal process in life is to reproduce oneself. Just like the seed that you brought from Haiti. It had a burning desire to reproduce itself. Why humans don't have that desire? Some humans now with all this LGBT stuff, and then, all this stuff going on, Planned Parenthood, all this stuff was designed to destroy us as a people. We... even God created God's self on the earth in us. That's what the Bible tells us, that we are the manifestation of God on the earth. But the real God never took on flesh. The Bible, you can't show me one time, and I say this all the time, if you show me one time where Jesus said he was God, I'll never speak again. Done. I'm done. It don't happen. It's not that. They made that story up. All these things was made up for control, to take control over people. Now, I do agree that both male and female had a role. Just like we say in the church. In the church, no one is better than the other, because the Bible says that we all have fallen short. We have sinned and fell short of the glory of God, and it's by grace that we've been saved, right? So then that means we're on the same plane, but we confuse what? That our grace with our position. In the church, we have a position. I have a position as a pastor, finance, reader, this and that. And so we then confuse that with who we are in God. Have nothing to do with who we are in God, just have to do with how we keep this house moving. That's it. That's the only.
There are pieces that come together.
Like again, I came in here as the janitor in Imani. So, well, if my back not hurting, when I need to janitor, I go right back to that. Why? Because I know it well. That's why I tell people about shooting pool. I don't care how good you are at shooting pool. The best, you're going to be a better racker before you become a good shooter. You're going to be a professional racker before you become a good shooter. Because if you're shooting people that's going to challenge you, you're going to rack a lot. When you get tired of racking, you're going to start winning something. You see? So it's the same thing in everything. But God advances us, but God didn't mean for us to compete against each other. We see who doing the competing, not Jesus. I'm here teaching. I'm trying to spread this good news. And the Pharisees, they got an agenda. What's the agenda? To keep their foot on the neck of people. To not give people what they need so that they can maximize themselves in God. God didn't choose that. They chose that. But again, did God ever say that he was a human? Did even Jesus ever say he was God? You more studied than I am.
Well, it's interesting, the scriptures that were chosen there, and the reading, and the discussion that's been going on this morning, and if you really consume what we read and what's been said, the essence of it is one talking to itself. If we are indeed all part of the light, then there is no division in the light. There's no distinction in the light. So we are talking to ourselves and saying the same thing. And just some observation that throughout the eons, that light, before it manifested itself in different forms, and I'll just speak real plain, that light got bold, and that light said, I need some diversion. I'm here, I'm playing with myself, talking to myself, and that's fine, me to talk to myself, but let me at least spice things up a little bit, and let me change things around, so, all right, well, let me put some dark and light, let me put some firmament, just to make this existence a little bit more interesting. So it was all still the same substance, because that firmament didn't come from out of nowhere. It was something that existed. That's that light. That's that one. That's God that existed. So that firmament is just another manifestation of that one. But it's still the same substance. If we read it here, it says the same substance. It's what we read it today. What do we say there? All of creation shimmers as one being.
Come on now.
One being. And all creation shimmers as one being. Parts of it might look different from other parts, but it's one being. One being.
Right. Because one comes from the other. And so when you talk about, it's fun, I like how you use the light and the boredness, because when God created humans, God recreated himself in human form. So that's why we gods, That's why when we say we made in the image and likeness of God, that gives us that God DNA. So you are God. No, you're not the big kahuna, the creator of all. But then what Jesus said, he came, or Yahshua, whatever you come to say, he came to what? To return that was lost back to its rightful owner. So if God is your rightful owner, you made in the image and likeness of God, how can you not be a God? How can you not be God? How can you not? But again, keep it in perspective, because I have a friend, and she was saying she's God, and I'm like, yeah, you are God, but you're not the big kahuna. But you are God. That's correct to say. And then this morning, we talked last week about Christ. This morning, the guy was talking about Christ. And Christ is just the manifestation of the anointing of God. That's what a Christ is. That's it. It's not, and that's what we are. We can't do this work. When he talk about being this light, you can't be this light if you're not the manifestation of the actual light. You can't do it. And that's why they talk, what's the opposite of light? Darkness. Now, they have people say that nighttime is evil. That's crazy. Nighttime ain't evil. It's the darkness in people's heart that's evil. Because God said it's God's desire to dwell in the heart of people, and people's heart is too dirty for God to live in.
And when you talk about, like when people say that they, whatever they call themselves, and they believe in God. But how can you say you believe in God? God is love.
Come on now.
God say, treat us to love your neighbor like you love yourself. So a lot of people mistake themselves the way they treat their fellow man, because they're not very nice to their fellow man. And it made me almost weep when I saw this on TV the other day. Is a man who's running as the governor of his state. When he said, I believe in like the law and the immigration, hurting people who immigrants. But when he said, it just was like a knife in my heart. When he said, as soon as I take my hand off the Bible, I'm going to do all this dirty stuff to people. Basically, was what he said. I thought, wow.
He changed his commercial a little. He changed his commercial. These people are inherently evil because they're animals. See, you have to look at their DNA, and this is not hate, this is fact. Doc, you talked about DNA. A Neanderthal is part animal. I'm sorry. That's what it is. I'm not sorry because I didn't come up with the word. I didn't come up with the definition. I didn't create the people. But DNA have proven that they have less than human genes inside them. That's how they can be so cruel to humanity, because they're not in touch. They don't have that God in them that you have in you. Now,
how do you get connected to people like that when they don't have God in them? I mean, how you
That's why I kind of disagree.
but no, because everybody, no. Everybody's just not going to get it. But see, let me tell you.
That's the mission of Jesus on earth.
But humans, you have humans, then you have aliens.
They are victims.
You the front, you alien. When
They are victims.
that you fell for that story that they came here, that angels made it with women and made giants. That's foolish. Angels are not people. Angels are spirit. Aliens came on the earth and made it with human women, creating the Neanderthal, which is now subhuman. They're part human and part animal. So this element can't have God in them because they don't have a soul. These are animal people. That's Doc. You couldn't see. Doc, you couldn't see. You wouldn't see what you see. You wouldn't hear what you hear if these people had the real God in their heart. How can people treat people so cruelly? Children, women with children. It shows for itself. So,
Let me give you a simple historical fact.
Because like when they were saying the guys who were saying they were part of the KKK or whatever, those Aryan Nation, whatever, and then they would show how they were doing all of this stuff when they were young until somebody helped them to understand, and so then they did connect to the spirit within them.
but you're confusing two. You got two important elements that you're not dealing with. You're dealing with choice versus DNA. They chose to be a KKK. Their DNA chose them, so they didn't choose to be Neanderthal. Their DNA chose them because they're a part animal. You can't. You see what I'm saying? It's their DNA. It's embedded in them.
Well, my point is, then that means like, seem like it's like some are like that.
Yeah.
No,
The-
because
the-
the ones who could finally understand the real thing and realize, oh, I was wrong. I do.
Amen.
No, but
That's what I was gonna give
but
you.
remember now.
Nice.
Remember now, you got your northeastern Caucasian, which are the ones, the Neanderthals, by DNA.
Pastor-
Wait, Doc, let me finish. By DNA been proven, the northeastern Europeans, which is them animals that right now possess Israel, that's why they're doing what they're doing. They are by DNA animals, by DNA. Then you have those who was in Siberia who were albinos who back in the thing, they thought they was crazy, so they put them together and they migrated to Siberia, which they are African. They are human. They are, so then that's why when they start mating, in particular, they start coming back to themselves. I was looking, I could show y'all a picture where they have a set of twins. The brother, not quite your color, and the sister is an albino. They're twins. But what I'm saying, so you have an element of Caucasians that are from the African people. Then you have an element of Caucasian that's alien and earthly. And that's the ones you see. Start paying attention to the news and everything. You have that group that's kind and that care about what happened to people. Then you got a whole element. And they have a guy sit with at the White House. He is, I just laugh because he have to have his air conditioning on 60 at all times. Everything with them, he agree with everything. He's a nice guy, but he have that gene. I'm telling you. I told y'all that before. He have that gene. You can just tell them. They don't see basic humanity. They don't see, huh?
Jesus came for.
But Jesus,
For everybody.
Jesus didn't come for nobody because Jesus didn't come. Horus was here. But they came to save those who was lost. But those who was human, Doc, you can't take, that's just like if you made a horse and a donkey, what is it? I mean, if you made a horse and a donkey, what is it? A mule. What a mule is? An ass. So I mean, that's what they call them. And they stubborn. They have their own personality. They do what they want to. When they don't want to do something, you have to kill them. And these people,
So let me give you
I remember hearing you talk about that.
salvation.
I remember hearing you talk about the angels made it with and the giants. I say, really? Where the giants at now? If that story is true, where are they now? Where the bones at? If you can find bones from African people that's 4 million years old, but you can't find bones from people 5,000 years ago, you have to be suspect about that story. But go ahead, Doc.
Let me give you
They found some 7-foot bones in the U.S. not too.
7 foot, but we got 7 foot people. Yeah.
Let me give you a case in point. That's history, and this is maybe can be understood by everybody. 1960, I'm in Haiti, and I was curious about it.
I'm listening. Let me turn the air conditioner on. I'm hot. I'm so hot. Yeah, look at me. I'm sweating. And it's cool in here. Go ahead, Doc.
So, Time magazine came with a big picture. I can't remember that it is on the right side. His business is war. Robert McNamara. Robert McNamara cannot be no less than from Northern Europe. Robert McNamara, Minister of Defense.
Northeastern Europe. Northeastern Europe?
No, North Europe. I think they're there.
Eastern and Western is a big difference, Doc.
Not that far.
In the fridge, I'll get it for you. Okay, look, in the fridge they have some. Yeah. Bring me one, brother.
So, 1960, 61 about, he's the Minister of Defense. He's a Republican put there in the board of Kennedy to control him. Like they always have a Republican as a Minister of War.
Right.
Obama had his share.
Right.
Checking all of it. Fast forward, let's say 1970, early 80s. McNamara is at a conference. He was presenting something. And he stands on that podium to say that he feels so bad. He's so sorry. he encouraged the Vietnam War. He knew that was wrong. So there was a Vietnam veterans of the war, a couple of them. They came for him. They almost killed him.
Right.
He said, you knew that, and you knew that, but at least now this time he's waking up.
Right.
So that's why I kind of like, I think every human being is salvaged, can be salvaged. Because it just didn't get it. Now, why McNamara was doing that in 1961 as Minister of Labor? He needed money. Why needed money? Because in a just society, people have to kill each other. So
Right.
this is a system problem.
Right, it's a systematic problem, but still.
It's not that those people are bad.
Oh, they bad.
Further down, look at
Well, they're 50-50. They're 50-50. They could go either way.
Look at Obama now. He regret having invaded Libya.
Right.
Having given it, okay.
Yeah.
What did he do it himself? I don't think it was for money. Except it's a farce. He wasn't a president. The major decision are not taken by him.
Right.
That's the military industrial complex
Right.
who decide on what to do.
Right.
Like now, people are amazed sometimes Trump slip his mouth. He just doesn't have much practice, intelligence to accept people's mind. He had to say his foolishness. He wasn't educated enough to have a set of mind, a set of thoughts. He's just repeating. Sometimes he's upset. He just said, I didn't tell them to invade Iran. I didn't say that.
He's foolish. He don't know what he's doing. But
That's a good thing.
but that's why they follow
Give
him.
us a chance to
They
speak.
follow him because he's not a part of the indoctrinated system, they feel like. They feel like he's outside of the indoctrinated system. He's outside of the box. He speaks outside of the box.
Right.
But then he have to come back and say he didn't say it. But the sad part about it, you don't feel, every time you open your mouth, stupid, you're being recorded. So they come right back and say you didn't say it. They come right back with the recording. And you still say, after recording, say you didn't say it. I mean, you know, so we know that they don't deal in truth. But this here, and here in this Jones, that's what he's telling the religious leader. Y'all not dealing in the truth. You're not connected to the source. You're not represent. So when you have human people, when they found people in the remote places, they still had a way of worship. They had a way of trade, everything. So that's just normal human behavior. But then, so you don't have to be taught that. But then if you have some people, so that's normal. But then you have people that don't believe in none of that. It's 50-50, or how can you, these same people we talking about, and this true, this is why I don't use the word picnic, because during the Jim Crow era and everything, and these same people in their church service sold tickets to what man they was going to take out and hang as their entertainment while they ate. This what they sat down and eating, and their entertainment was hanging black men. That's animal people.
But that's just like Roman days to me, or the entertainment was aligned involved.
Well, again, that's the same animal people. That's why it is important when you say East and West. The DNA is different. When you go more to the West, you're going more to people that came from us. When you go to the East, you got people that's mixed with aliens. Now, they got this big thing. Why you think they was talking about going soon to Area 51? But if they go to Area 51, they're going to bring a lot of hearse because they're going to kill them. You ain't getting on Area 51 because they have too much on Area 51 to be exposed. They have aliens on Area 51. They have reciprocal relations. These people know that.
I think they said that themselves. It's not the people who are pushing to go to Area 51 that much.
Well, yeah, because the guy said, he said as a joke, then like 6 million people signed up. Because people tired of all the lies. People know what's here. People know. Yeah, it's been exposed now.
This is a question. You talk about aliens, Johnny, and the rest of that. If what we read this morning is true, particularly what it's saying in the scriptures and also the second reading, if that's true, then these aliens and giants and everything else that it is it, are they part of the one?
Part of what?
The one,
What one?
the Almighty.
No. No, they're not. Part of them is. Because they have part human DNA and part animal DNA. This is a proven fact. This sounds crazy, but if we believe in DNA, do we believe in DNA in this room? Wait a minute, just to phrase that question. Do everybody in this room believe in the process of DNA?
Yeah, that's your.
You're a medical doctor. Do you believe in DNA?
I just tell the sour soup.
Right, but you,
I mean,
do you believe in DNA? Do you believe in DNA? I believe in DNA. DNA says, this is DNA proven. And so I tend to sway with DNA because the great Imhotep created science. Science wasn't created in Oxford University. Education wasn't created in Oxford University. Education was created in where it was by Massa Musa funded it, and Imhotep created it, and it's Timbuktu. Is it Timbuktu?
Mali.
Huh? Yeah, to Mali, and Mali, but it was the Ghanaian province it was called, but it was several countries. It wasn't Ghana. But anyway, this is where all this stuff comes from. The first university ever known to man.
That wasn't where I was. Where I am is that not whether it's human DNA or non-human DNA, is there such a thing as the one, the all in all? And if there is such a thing as the all in all, then is everything a part of the all in all?
I see where you're at.
Even if it breaks it down even further than that, good and evil, are they both part of this one being?
The exposure of it is. The exposure of it. Because if you look at it, they claim that when they ate off the tree in the Garden of Eden, then evil was exposed. Before then, they didn't know no evil. Supposedly, they didn't want them to partake of the tree because they didn't want them to get the knowledge of evil. But when they took, but now, I said supposedly. Why I said supposedly? Because if you can't validate this information, you can't speak it as if it's ironclad, that's all. So you have to be able to validate, because a lot of information that we've been taught by our enemy. And they created a lot of this information. You could see a lot of whitewashing in the Bible. You could see when white man injected himself in the Bible. The truth is, God never gave a white person authority to minister his word, if you go by the Bible. But then, what in the Bible you see? Okay, tithing is not of God. And I know people tithing is not of God. Abraham tithed the spoils of war to Melchizedek. But did Melchizedek really exist? Because why I ask that question? And this is where the whitewashing starts, with Melchizedek. Did Melchizedek really exist? When Melchizedek was both king and priest. No one ever on the planet was both king and priest. No one but Melchizedek. But you can't prove he really existed, one. Secondly, is to be a king and to be a priest, you had to have lineage. So how can you come, nobody know who you are, and you're going to be the most powerful person ever to grace the planet? I have problems with that. We tried for months to find more information on Melchizedek. We couldn't find. The only information you have on Melchizedek is the little bit they put in here. So that tells me I'm suspect of that story. Then that's what gave them the right to minister. Before then, you had to come to the Levitical priesthood. I'm talking Bible here. Now, whether you like it or not, that's another story. So you had to come to a Levitical priesthood. But with Melchizedek and so-called Jesus came to the order of Melchizedek. Why? To give them a way in. Now, the first time Africans saw the name Jesus was on the side of a slave ship, not in the church. The same people that gave Africans Jesus killed their grandmothers and raped their children, fed their children to alligators for entertainment. They also did that. They used to throw black babies to alligators and sit there and laugh at it. That's not human. That's inhumane. People with God DNA can't do that.
Pastor,
People with God DNA can't do that. I'm sorry. I can't see how people with God, we talking about the great creator.
Let me give you the best argument I can give you to say.
Huh?
Let me give you the best argument about it.
I'm sorry.
Am I going to believe that growing up in Haiti in the 50s, the 60s, the dictatorship of Papa Doc turned people into monsters? Would I believe that they have different DNA?
No,
than
but
us?
I'm
No,
telling.
than us from Africa, we're all from Africa and Haiti.
Oh
A
yeah.
little mixture, but the overall story that I was a 12, 13-year-old.
Oh, we swallowed the poison now. We swallowed the
That's what
poison.
happened. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
happened. It's a system.
Yeah, we swallowed the poison.
Since this guy installed a fierce dictatorship because he wanted to keep power, because the American are putting money in his pocket. So he turned people into monsters.
Right.
They emptied this country with 50,000 killed and millions left the country.
You see the
I'm
way,
one of them.
right? The way we see black people now,
Those people are not from northern.
right? But the way we
That's why
see,
those from northern ascendancy.
Right.
They're victim of it. I call them all victims.
they are victims, but they're victims. Why? Because they choose not to to gain the knowledge of self. And when you begin to gain, like, look, but remember, I was a crackhead. I used to smoke crack. I used to smoke cocaine. I was alcoholic. I was all those things by choice. But when I woke up, then those things I saw was destroying me. They wasn't helping me to be the best me I can be. They was helping me to be the worst me I could be. So I had to make a choice. So you see what I'm saying? So what? Because I became aware. I became aware.
Because God gave you free will.
Thank you. Thank you.
But
So
the other thing I would like to say too is, like, kind of like Iran was like, okay, even the angels rebelled. They were of God, like Satan's school.
let me tell you, you know where that's at? You know the only place that story is at? In the book we read Tuesday. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I'm just saying, you know,
Revelation.
even some of the angels rebelled, so then they got cast out. So you got some people on this planet, because you have free will, you choose Satan. You know, basically when they say you sold your soul to the devil. So they're more human possessions instead of worrying about their souls or other people.
But sister, you know Revelation was a dream. You can't even believe Revelation. One, it was a dream. Secondly, it was a dream that was believed to be fulfilled at that moment. It wasn't a futuristic thing. It was a presentary thing because John was on the island of Patmos. But John had a dream and woke up. How many of your dreams you take as your reality? Think about it. This is the things that we breaking through. We breaking through the stigma of just because the white man said here, just what we give you, that you take it. Revelation was a dream. It was merely, he was sleeping, and he was dreaming that these things was happening. It is. You make me out a liar. I'm saying it publicly. Make me out a liar. You can't, because it's the truth. Was it a dream or not? Revelation.
It says revelation.
Yeah.
That word in of itself revealed.
Thank you. It was a dream, though. It wasn't like so-called the road to Damascus or the road of Emmaus, where, you see, it wasn't those kind of experience. It was experience. No, it was a dream. He was dreaming. He was actually dreaming. And let me tell you, Revelation, John book of Revelation badly made the cut. They was going to pick Peter book, but Peter book transferred too much power to the people, so they decided not to use Peter's. So when you got to remember, this stuff that people want to die for, that's their soul and all that, this stuff was assembled from 325 to 399 in the Council of Nicaea, first and second. So when you start taking this stuff on, you have to know that you're really getting from the Most High. That's why the Most High says in John 14 and 26 that the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, is going to teach you and keep you in remembrance of all that God has done. Because people put a lot of information out here, and the Bible says that we have to be careful not to follow any wayward doctrine. Because people are going to come with this stuff. And then we see here we see here so plain and clear that Jesus is telling the church leaders, those, just the same people he told, not only do you live in error, but you teach in error. Jesus told this to the same people. And he telling them right now. Now, well, how can he say, I don't bear witness to myself, but the Father bear witness to me? Duh, in Matthew 3:17, 13 and 17, God, the Spirit of God came out and said, this is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Again, in 17 and 11, the same thing. This is my beloved Son, hear him. God have bad witness to me, but y'all are so rebellious, you so indoctrinated into a system of control that you can't even see God. You can't hear God. Remember the Bible said that God, for I know the voice of my people will know my voice. So we have to have an open line of communication like with God. And you're supposed to know when God is speaking, and if you don't get it, God going to speak till you get it. So when he tell them, he's like, really? Y'all the religious leader? I done been, it done been announced many times that I'm the one. And you still rejecting. So you don't know me, you don't know the Father. So how can they lead people to God if they're not on the pathway to God? So where they going to lead people at? In the ditch. That's why he said the blind leading the blind. He was talking to these same people. The blind leading the blind. They both in a where? In a ditch. You have to, this is why every week I say the same scripture, 2 Timothy 2 and 15. Study to show yourself approved before God. But workmen need not to be ashamed. You have to learn how to rightly divide the word of truth. Just because, look, in the Baptist faith, in the Catholic, we never believe this. In the Baptist faith, they teach every dot and tittle. Well, we don't believe in every dot and tittle. It's control. I don't even believe this the word of God. I believe this the word that man wrote to follow, that was following the God. The word of man that tried to follow God at best is what this is. Actually, the same Paul tell you that your life, you are the word of God. Jesus tell you that you the light. So it's not, let me tell you, everybody believe in the same book, but they all worship differently, and they all say the other one is wrong. We the only, every time I go to a church and they say we the only one that have it right, I'll never go back to that church again. Because if you think I'm stupid enough to believe that you're the only ones that have it right, and to me, people who believe that is stupid. I'm sorry.
It's a quest.
Well, I'm not sorry. Yeah, to belong to something. To belong to something. But you belong to the kingdom.
Well, what you just said is what this separate says, the ego. If the ego is too busy comparing, judging, labeling, evaluating, to get it. So it's like they're not connected to the radiance of the light in God because they're too focused on their ego and their humanness, comparing, judging, I'm better than you.
Right. Exactly.
That's not a God, it's a human,
Right.
human nature.
Look, we all have good, and everyone in here have a gift. If we recognize that gift and we put them together, then we have a hell of a group, because everyone is working at the fullest of their potential in God. But see, for that to be so, like, okay, I'm Pastor Waters, so I have to pray, I have to speak, I have to do everything because I'm pastor. No. What I like to do is whatever you're good at, you do it. And we didn't let Loretta pray either. But when Bishop Harden was here and I told you to get up and pray, he was shocked because he think he have to do it. No. We got some people in here who have the gift of prayer. Who have the gift of prayer. You see? So what we do, we recognize gifts and we exploit them. That's what we're supposed to do. So we're not competing. There's enough work in the kingdom for everybody. And you think, and this is what I tell people, you think the janitor not important? Let the toilet not be clean for about 6 months. You'll start to see how important the janitor is. You see what you see? So, and this is not, we're not supposed to be judging each other by, this and that but that's why the Bible says it's better to go into heaven with maimed eyes than to go to the missing, because these eyes are taught to see imperfection. That's why we have to look through our spiritual eye, our pineal gland. because it's not taught to see the imperfection. We look for the God, the namaste in each other. But these eyes, I'm looking to see if his shoes been polished. I'm looking, he a lawyer, he's supposed to be sharp. You see all this stupid stuff here, but I ain't saying it. But I'm distracted by stuff that means nothing. They have nothing. If his shoes polished or not, how that's going to affect me? You see what I'm saying? So what difference does it make to me? So I'm focusing on something that makes absolutely no sense to me.
Right, because whether his shoes polished or not, if he still got the radiance of God, that's all you want.
Exactly. And so we caught up, so people think just they have big stuff, but look at what it takes to maintain. So to maintain big, it takes a lot to maintain that. But the thing is, if the Bible says if I could just help one along the way, one, it's very simplistic, then my living is not in vain. So everyone is not going to speak to an audience the size of the Pope. And the people that God might have assigned to you won't listen to the Pope. You see, or won't listen to Jesse Duplantis, which I used to, but I'm just saying, they just won't because they fed up with all that stuff.
To me, that just...
I like the Pope, by the way.
I don't understand. It's like, why? We're not supposed to judge each other. But the thing that really annoys me, I guess, is why does some people think that everybody's got to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do we not understand that the differences, you can gain so much from the differences in people. Like you learn something new from that person. You can call, like, say somebody, how they cook. You like that cuisine, how they cook, or how they think, or if they go into a mosque and they pray to God that way, that's how they were taught, that's how they pray to God. They still pray to God. So I think that people's differences can enhance your life. So it's incorporate it instead of judging it and trying to stop it.
But Janet Jackson said it best. Control. It's about control. People want to control people. People don't want you to be free. People don't want you to know for those who the Son set free are free indeed. I don't want you to know that. Because when you're free, you don't need me. If you don't need me, I can't milk you. I can't use you. I can't make you feel less than. And you sure can't feel I've had people to tell me this, preacher, you never tell the people that you just like them. I swear, if I'm lying, I hope I don't speak another word. Right in here, they told me that. I ain't going to call their name. I should never let the people think that I'm just like them, that I'm supposed to be better. I'm the pastor, I swear. I'm telling you, it's true. Now, you've been around a long time. You know what the behavior is. Am I right or wrong in what I'm saying? I'm not saying you agree with me. You don't have to agree with me, but you've heard it.
System.
Yeah.
Let me say it's protecting the position. And I say protecting the position that there's some people that aspire to hold a particular title because of some of the things that they feel comes with that title.
Yeah, the perch.
And if that title is diminished in as far as saying, well, I have that title, but I'm the same as you. And that might lessen some of the perks that go along with it. So some folks have it in mind that they want to protect that title, protect that position.
You're right.
That's just as far as some of the things.
But yeah, sure.
Say, like the preacher comes to the house, with the biggest piece.
Yeah, and all that,
The thing I think about it is that you have to be able to identify with people. Because when you're talking to someone, if you look, suppose you're talking to somebody that has been on drugs, I go to this, but no, you don't, if you haven't never been there.
Right.
So if you tell them, say, I've been here, say, they look at say, who's real? He's been through some things. He didn't just wake up and say, well, I'm a minister. I'm a minister, I'm better than everybody else. I should be put way up here and people way down here. But instead, I'm right here with y'all. I'm in a fight with y'all. I have to go and pray to God for the things that I think and do wrong too. I'm not absolutely pure, or don't believe God.
I tell you, bro, 95% of me is good, but 5% of me ain't worth a damn. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I tell you,
everything I could say, God, that was the wrong thought, God, to take that thought away.
But I had this girl that's alcoholic. And I used to get so upset when she asked me about it. But I told her, when I told her I was hospitalized 3 times for drinking, and her eyes opened, she's like, really? I said, yeah. That's why I know drinking will kill you, it'll hurt you, because I've been hospitalized for it. I don't want to participate in that. Don't ask me to do that. So she don't ask me no more. And that's where she at. So, you know, it's like, yeah, you beat.
Before she would think you were thinking you were better than her.
Of course,
but now you're telling her it's because I did it.
But see, don't the Jesus that they worship, God, wait, let me say this right quick. I'm going to forget, but then the Jesus that they worship says that those who aspire to be the greatest must be the least. Where that preach at? That the Jesus said that if you want to be great, you have to be the best server, not the most served, but the best server. That's the Jesus of the Bible. Now, the Jesus they created in the world say that I have to sit on this pedestal, but then the Jesus of the Bible say in Matthew 23, be careful those who long sit in seats of high places like Moses, for they'll put heavy burdens on your shoulder and won't take one finger to lift them up. Go ahead. That's the Jesus of the Bible say that.
Unto you, therefore, which believe, he is precious. But to them which be disobedient, the stones which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner.
Right.
I read that this morning.
Right, yeah, sure did.
But you know, I don't know why they feel like that. But I understand what you're saying, that you know, the least served one. But if they don't put themselves on a pedestal and do, you know, what they're supposed to do, the people will raise them up. Because the people see the heart that they have and the person that they are. They don't have to be going to ask the people for all this, you know, and all of that. They just do it because they love them for who they are.
Right.
And you know, and that's the kind of bind, and like you said, oneness that's supposed to be in the church. And you know, like I was on the phone here, I'm always on the phone with somebody. Then you know, when you go into that church, how many people y'all got? 3, 4? I told them, don't matter how many.
Right.
As long as we got 2 of them.
As long as we have 2, we have enough.
We got 2. I said, he said, well, 2 of them. I said, it's good. I said, the thing I don't have to worry about is weeding out the fake, weeding out the people that's coming, you know, just for the show.
And
you coming to a little church like
yeah.
you ain't coming for the
Right.
for real.
Right. And then, but this for us. See, this for us. This ours. And so God provide here for us. Even though it's small, God provide. Not only do he provide for us, but he give us the opportunity, or she give us the opportunity to share with other people, to use it. So we're doing what God, so no matter how many of us, we still get what God intentions are for the body. So we try to do that we think God expects. But again, here, I like when he said, and you judge, yet you judge. But yet I don't judge, but if I do judge, I judge righteously. Where that come from? The Sermon on the Mount, the 7th chapter. Judge not, for by the same measures you judge, so shall you be judged. Why worry about the splinter in his eye or her eye when you have a beam in yours? To take care to get that out of yours so you can see clearly. Because again, we don't judge in negativity because we don't judge, but the only time we look down is when you're looking down and pull somebody up. We gather the help that people need, and if that's in my scope of expertise, then I reach down to pull them up. Because why? Because I don't need to feel like I'm superior to you. I need to be superior to me. Because if I'm comfortable with myself, I don't have to compete with you. I'm comfortable with myself. I'm comfortable with who I am. See, God has blessed my life. I don't have to compete. I also know that same God have enough for both you and I. I don't have to, we're not in competition. I don't come here to compete. Just like when certain people used to come here, I've had people ask me, you're not scared they come here? I said, for what? That's not for me, that's for God. If God wants them here, they're going to be here. I'm not, see, I don't set my, because I'm not, I just don't. And that's what people don't like, is that because they can't drag you into that stuff. But I was there. But I started reading, because I started reading, because I was so confused and I would ask questions and I couldn't get answers to them, so I started reading for myself. Then I found that 2 Timothy, and I started seeing everything. I said, man, do these guys really look in this book? This is book that they call everything from the way they treat people, man, you see these churches, these multi-million-dollar churches, when people get sick, went there 40 years, get $150, and that's it. Is that what the church is designed for? As James said in 1:26-30, the church was designed to take care of the widows, the orphans, and the poor. Even in Leviticus 19, God said, when you glean your fields, leave the corners, and that fell to the field for the poor and for the strangers that's passing through. So at what point do we get that God, you don't have to take to being God? For I never see the righteous forsaken, nor my seed bake bread. Just do the right thing, and when you need something, God is going to be there for you, guaranteed. Been there, done that. I've been through some rough times. I didn't work for 2 years. I got hurt. I was 33 years old with I had young children when I stopped working. I used to worry about that. I wasn't nearly as mature in God as I am now. That's how I ended up with that ballroom. I was immature. I had to make a way. And then I got so miserable. I had a ballroom, but I was living in the past. I was past that then. But I was going back to, again, I was carnal because I went back to what I knew. But then it was miserable for me. You see? But I was doing me. I did that. But then when I let go and let God, God sailed me through. Everything worked out. I'm telling you, when I be speaking, I speak of things that I experienced. Because I had a wife and 2 young children. I had to get something coming in the house. I'm a provider. My daddy taught me to be a man. I'm a provider. I've always been a provider. She's been knowing us 30 years. She know. But I was nervous. Man, I'm a young man, 33 years old, with 2 girls. Dude, 10 years old and stuff like that. Babies, No, man. So anyway, so when we see, but I hear he talk about that, but I want to also go back to where that come from, about out of the witness of the amount of 2. Where that come from? Doc, you didn't look that up, where that come from?
Say again?
Out of the witness of 2. When Jesus talked about the 2, witness of 2, that comes from Deuteronomy 17:6. Go back to that right quick, somebody.
Like I told you, I think the Old Testament as a Jewish...
It's not those people that it's not Northeastern European Jew, though. It's not Northeastern European Jew. It's not. They bastardized it.
You said 17:2?
17:6.
17:6. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. And at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death.
Where Jesus said, where 2 or 3 come together, touch and agree, God is in the midst. In Matthew 18 and 19, I think. But also, go to Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 18, somebody. 15, 18 through 18. And this is where, God, this is so simplistic. But they made it complicated. Again, why? Because they try to make you think that you could never attain this unless you come through them. So then you come through them, then indoctrinate you, then you speaking stuff that you know not true. Let me tell you, the Roman Catholic priests are some of the most educated ministers in the world. 18 and 15, start at 15 through 18. But they're also some of the most indoctrinated. They know that a lot of stuff they are taught is not true, but they ain't going to go against that because they live well. They take a vow of poverty, but they live in a mansion. I seen the cook spending almost $2,000 a week because this precinct. You see what I'm saying? But they live impoverished. No, they don't.
System,
Yeah, but read that, 18 and 15 through 18. This is what God is speaking to the people.
Thou shalt anywise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren, shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
Listen to that.
But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses, for as much as the Lord has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply for himself silver and gold.
Okay, so he said he's gonna pick from amongst you. Why all these people going all over the world, so-called planting churches that they control, that they get money out of?
System.
When he said the system, we know, but let's deal with. We got to split. Of course.
System.
But he said, they said, the book said they're going to raise up people from amongst you, your brethren, people that understand the culture, people that get the culture, people that get the struggle, people that get what the region is either strong in or weak in. This is the plan of Most High, simplicity. But greed,
So,
now you got a man.
Everything is to be we consider.
Yeah.
Did you watch History Channel this weekend?
Not this
If you
weekend.
miss it, there's only one thing to do. You're gonna see all the information is there. Mesoamerica, where Mexico, whatever the place is at the time of David was building the temple, whatever they were doing there. There's only one word to look for in your Google, Olmec, O-L-M-E-C. You're gonna see African were there
Yeah,
in Mesoamerica.
Hmm.
We're talking 1,000 years before Christ.
yeah.
So who in the world knows that? Nobody.
Right, but they don't
Because
teach
That's why
it.
they keep you busy
They don't
deciding
teach
all
it.
those things that have no.
We know it, but they don't teach it to the masses, and they're not seeking it either.
You're gonna
If
see
they
all those
if they start
statues
looking at it,
of Africans.
just like what they
Statue
do,
of Africa.
they tell you
All
six.
that you see.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Just be Google Olmec. They cannot hide it anymore.
Yeah, they tell you 666 is the devil, right? And then History TV said 636 is the devil. That they misread the second six. You know what 666 is? Perfection. 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, and 6. Yeah, but no, it's 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. The perfect. And so you know who that is? You. That's what gives you melanin. And see, everything that's beneficial to you that they can't steal, they make it the devil. So you got people like look like us that's saying that 666 is the devil. On my car out there, my license plate number is 66616. So, and I asked them guys, and they, of course, oh, that's the devil, you the devil. I was like, yeah, do some study and learn the truth. It's not the devil, it's perfection. But how long I've been knowing that? Not too long, but how did I find it out? By searching.
With all that DNA, and all that things of DNA tested, all the stuff that they got going on right now. I heard this lady on the radio, this talk show that comes on every Sunday, we were driving, and they would talk about their DNA, like Italian or different.
Yeah.
For when she said she had a high percentage of
92% Neanderthal. Didn't you say that? She realized she's saying she's 92% animal. So that's still that. Whether you like it or not, you say you believe in DNA. DNA says she's 92% animal, 8% human. How can you then get human emotions from a person like that? How can you get real human feelings? How can you get somebody that's connected to humanity enough to care about how people are treated the way we are told to do? When I was sick, did you visit me? When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? If you 8% human, you don't get that. Why? Because the norm for you is to probably live without clothes. How you think people eat red meat? Man, red meat is raw. That's a raw animal. But who have a desire to eat raw animals? You? Do you? Not me. Not raw. And it's hard to chew. But they have that desire. They have their true nature. And I know this don't sound good, but the truth don't sound good. But if it's the truth, we have to stand on it.
But ultimately, God wants them to join the society of human.
They have
normal people.
them people have their own gods. They don't believe in God. You know, most of them people tell you. I had one to tell me when I came from Hammond, and I just knew God stepped in and did a great thing for me and all that. And so I'm happy. So I said it, and this lady said, well, how about you was just in the right place and you made the right decisions? I said, that's what you say. But I said, the Most High Creator blessed me today. You see, but their take was, you blessed yourself.
Yeah, but the scary part is politicians are using religion to manipulate and control the world.
But remember-
it's scary what they're doing because they divide.
But you can't divide. And you know the biggest lie that people fell for? The division of politics and church. You can't divide the two because politics come out of the church. So what they do, you know why they divide politics from church or want to? Because 6 days a week they can do all that animalistic stuff, and on their church day they go and they feel like they're connected. But again, they're ready to sell tickets to hang somebody. They're ready to sell tickets on what kid they're going to throw to the alligators for the entertainment. What kind of human is that? If that's human, then I want to be unhuman. That's not human. But it's true, though. See, none of this is just made up stuff. This is all factual information, Doc.
This is the last evidence of what I'm saying. What was Rome? You know that we already mentioned that northern Italy and
Yeah.
southern Italy are two different countries.
Right.
Why the southern is considered, only southern Italian are considered as being mingled.
Right.
All right? Why?
Italian-
Because they're closer to Africa.
Yeah, and it makes.
So that where did all those Greek scholars went to study in Africa? Egypt. Okay. Now, when Rome was having,
When they couldn't go to Egypt, they went to Libya. Before they was allowed to go to Egypt, they went to Libya to study because they weren't allowed in Egypt at one point.
so now why did in Rome you have the circus? People are put in the line. The Northern European did not come. They will come later on. They didn't make it down there yet. That's when the so-called Vandals and barbarians will come from Germany, from Northern Europe, Northeastern we're talking about.
Northeastern.
No, but the Roman already had those things. And the Roman can claim to have some African ancestry.
Yeah, but
By
they
culture,
do.
by mingling, because when the GI went to Northern Africa and Ethiopia, the mingled. So in a system that was at that point encouraging, maintaining the circus, lion where people would get killed.
Right.
So it's not, that's what I'm saying. Jesus you know my motto? Trust Jesus. Try Jesus. You know that. I told that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
This is how you come to believe. You integrate that. You can take this book with 2 or 3, even 5 grains of salt. Because we know it's a program in place to make that. You know what I have to make? Local supremacy. Local meaning white. So this is a supremacy of the white. So this is part of the program.
Mm-hmm.
But when you try Jesus, when you call the Holy Spirit to assist us in this gathering we have, that's how we can come up with truth.
But that's the Holy Spirit purpose based on this same book, the Bible, in John 14 and 26. It says a comforter, a teacher, and the keepers in remembrance of all that was taught. But when you say Jesus, then you throw an element of people off because then you got black people that says that they're not African. The so-called modern-day Israelites. I put on Facebook the other day. Okay, have you ever looked at a map that Israel is connected to Africa? Because it is Africa. Israel is more Africa than Key West is Florida. To get to Key West, you have to go over a bridge. You can't get there but 2 ways, on a boat or over the bridges. There's no ground that go from one island to another. There's islands. So, but Israel, you could go stay on land and go straight. But again, they because they want to say that, they say it's the Africans enslaved them. I'm like, wow, you really a slave. Because you don't know, you don't really, y'all so caught up in the stories that these people told you, you can't even see the truth in front of your face. This is, so here in Peter, let's just do this so we can wrap this thing up. Here in Peter, in 1, where you started at, Doc, and you read. Well, you want to say something about the second reading? Because I like, yeah, it is, Paul. I like this here. People, plants, animals, everything. And this would, see these self-righteous people that's been fooled by the other people? But they say that, no, the only thing they have God in them is people that accept. That's stupid. The Bible says that the trees, God gave life to everything. Every living thing have God in them. It's, do you accept God? Do you use the God that's in you? Either you could use it or you could lose it. It's your choice. But if you don't use it, then you don't never get a chance to maximize the fullest of your potential. Case in point, you have some gifted, talented people that are wasting their life on Section 8, food stamps, and welfare. So what they have decided to do is to become slaves and to stay slaves. Now, the system, if you need to pass through, and not even like Peter touched it, a system, if you need the system for a moment, that's another story. That's what it's there for. But it wasn't intended for you to be on your whole life till you die. Because you never get to see who you could be. You know, just think if Tyler Perry would have said, I'm just going to try to get over, opposed to becoming the person that Tyler Perry has become. You know, just think if, even though R. Kelly's crazy, look at his humble beginning. Look at a lot of the people that we know now that's household names that come from really humble beginnings that could have easily went either way, but chose to go the way of positivity, not negativity. So when you let other people dictate your destiny, then you don't have a chance to be who you are supposed to be. But when you take ownership and control over your own destiny, as they say in ACC, moved by the genius of your culture, then you can achieve your full economical, cultural, you can achieve the things that the Most High have before you. Why? Because you know that the only limit to what you can do is the limits that God has placed on you, and there are none. God don't put no limits on us. God has given us the right to explore. That's what the parable of the 1, the 2, and the 5 was all about. Just because you have one gift don't mean that you're not a major player. But people think you have to have the 5 gifts to be a major player. I wish I was a preacher that could play music and sing. But I didn't never know I was going to do this. That's not something that I prepared for. This is something that just came to me. So those guys their grandfather was preachers. You know, they have the lineage. And some of them guys could sing and they can, I don't believe in the hooping and all that. But I'm saying, so they have more gifts. So do I say, well, I can't utilize Doug's gift or Doug's gifts now gifts that I have? But if I didn't utilize that gift, then would I have gifts? You see? Because I could easily say, man, I can't sing, man, I can't play instrument, man, I can't. You see, which I did do. And so, again, whatever you have is beneficial, but you have to know that. But if you let people tell you that you wordless, you worthless, and you ain't this and you not that, then you'll never know who you could have been. Again, if you live on a system, you think you're getting over. But what you're doing is you stunting your ability to grow. And you're stunting your ability to be that seed that you talked about in the ground that came from Haiti, but that's able to grow here in America. Why? Because the seed didn't say, I have to be planted in Haitian soil to grow. But the seed said, I need soil and I need water, and I can sprout. It's a difference. I need water and I need soil. Now, that's why I tell people, I'm not African. Well, look, when you get fruit or whatever, they say Brazilian fruit. These fruit was shipped from Brazil. they're in America because they were shipped to America. It didn't make them American fruit. It made them Brazilian fruit shipped to America. We African people that was shipped to America. We still African people. But the thing is, we are God's people. So we say we're God's people. So how can I maximize my potential to be as godly as possible by not allowing human limitations on my life? Say, like, for instance, with this bishop thing with me. Bishop Stallings don't like me. I know that. So I would never, in his sight, nothing would never happen for me. I don't have to wait on him. He don't own that. God do. You see, God own that. They don't own that. They don't own me. I do. And I give myself to God. I give myself away that you can use me, God. Not that George Stallings can use me. Because if I was waiting for something if I was still waiting to learn about sex from home, I'd still be a virgin. I wouldn't have Bianca Bettina and Nathaniel, because my daddy never taught that. So if I was still waiting to be a fruitful minister from George Stallings, I would never be, because he never taught me that. Because he don't like me, because I have questions. I'm not a yes sir boss type person. And because of that, we have issues. But stuff have to make sense to me, because I put my reputation on the line. When I speak, it's my reputation. See, this is how I believe tonight, and you know this from your show. Is my word and my relationship with the Creator is all I have. And I'm not giving it to you, and I'm not surrendering it. I hold those two things very dear, because God is important. And I know the mouth. The Bible said life and death come from the tongue, from the mouth. So I have to be careful what I say, and what I say I have to believe, and what I believe I have to live. I was telling the guy that the other day some stuff, and he wanted me to tell him who. I said, I'm not going to tell you that. If I knew, I wouldn't tell you that, which I do know, but I wouldn't tell him that. But I said, start paying attention. Start observing. A story tells itself. You listen to what people say, people taught to say the right thing. Watch what they do, and that tell you who they are. Start paying attention. That's all you have to do. If you pay attention, you'll see. You see, so, but I'm not going to tell you, because you're going to go confront them, and if a conversation ensues and somebody get hurt, then I'm going to feel responsible. So I'm telling you, just pay attention. That's all I'm telling you. Observe your surroundings. Stop being so caught up in the group that you're missing who you're around. The Bible said, know those who labor amongst you. Too many people don't know, though. People call people their friend, and they don't even know their real name. You know, and how can somebody be your friend and you don't even know who they are? Let's be real about this, because we don't take time. The one thing I like the most about New Orleans is you can communicate with people, you can talk, you can easily get a conversation going, but most everywhere else you can't. You know, because we was talking about that with some people from California, how people in California, they're going to turn away from you because they don't want to engage you. People in New York look straight through you. In New York, they're like robots. In California, they look down at the ground to pretend that they didn't see you. But here in New Orleans, some people look away, but most people say good morning, good evening. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm blessed or something. But you can get something. So the thing is that taking control of your destiny and taking control of your destiny is first knowing who you're partnering up with. Remember, the Bible says, broad and wide is the gate that leads to the road of destruction. The men will find it. Narrow and straight is the road that leads to salvation. No one few will find it. This is what Jesus was telling the Pharisees. This is the same thing that Peter's telling them. Peter's telling them, if you really get who you are in God, then you'll get the gift that God, transferred to you. You are a powerful being, remember. And even when you tell people, when you say, somebody kind of challenged, somebody said last week about being a Christ. Well, being a Christ means anointing. So we say that we've been anointed by God to do this work, that means that I'm a Christ. Because I live in the anointing of God. That's all that means. But because people not taught right, then they take it like, I can't be that. I'm not good enough. But I'm made in the image and likeness of God. The Bible says, be ye perfect, even as I am perfect. Be ye righteous as I am right. How can we be perfect, both perfect and righteous? Can we? Can we be perfect and righteous? Yes, we can. In God. And God is our perfection. And God is our righteousness. But we already established that in us, that sometimes we just don't feel like it. Sometimes I just don't want to be bothered with that. Sometimes, you see, it's not the best thing for me, right? So anyway, with that being said, I'm done. If y'all want to say some more, if someone else have something up they would like to add, this would be the time to do so. If not, Dr. Renetta, we can get the collection basket. It's time to take up the collection. So is there anything else anyone else would like to say? So I just say, remember, you choose whether you're light or you Pharisee. Whether you're light or you Pharisee, which means religious. So are you light or are you religious? Are you the light or are you Pharisee? John, well, we read in John. Okay, and then in here, he's talking about being a royal priesthood, a holy people. How can you be a royal priesthood in 1 Peter, a holy people, if you not anointed and appointed? He talk about mercy, but mercy is a temporary place you be in until grace is granted. Grace is permanent. Mercy is temporary. Grace is permanent. So once you receive the grace of God, then you can't lose that God have granted. God won't never take it from you, but you can surrender it. Again, why, Sandra? Because of free will and choice. Because you have the right to choose. That's why he said, choose you this day who you will serve. You have the right to choose. And Paul says, when Paul first started writing, Paul was immature. In his maturity, he said, now you have to work out your own soul salvation. What that mean? That means that your preacher can't do that for you. That means that your grandma can't do that for you. That means that your mama can't do that. Your wife can't do it, or your husband. You have to do it for yourself. You have to work out your own soul salvation. But you have to get that. And when you do get it, then you'll see how enslaved you were. And you'll come out of, like the Bible says, that whore. Because that's what the Bible says it is, right? The world, the system is a whore. So you'll come out of that whore and you'll be made whole in the Most High Creator. Be made whole in the Most High Creator. Then, like Jesus said, isn't it written in your Lord that you are gods? And Psalm 82:6 that you are gods, made in the image and likeness of the Most High Creator. So I can't be a God and be filthy rags and worthless at the same time. They're diametrically opposing to each other. Either I'm a God or I'm filthy rags and I'm worthless. One or the other, but I can't be both of them. Anything else anyone else want to say? God bless you. God keep you. This is truly my prayer. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Ashe. And for those of you, Nettie, Raymond, Ike, Sterling, Kennedy, Bishop Anthony Williams, Damian Rowley, Big Lie, Edward, Kimbrough, Kevin Matthew, what's up, Kev? Frank, God bless y'all. Frank Andrews, how y'all doing, young brothers? God bless y'all. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you being with us. God bless you. God keep you. This is truly our prayer. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Ashe. Namaste. Bye-bye.